Welcome to Roots of Africa, the channel where we uncover the forgotten stories, untold histories, and hidden truths that shaped our continent. Today's story is not just about a war, it is about hunger used as a weapon, children forced to grow up overnight, and a nation forever changed. Between 1967 and 1970, Nigeria fought one of Africa's deadliest civil wars. A conflict so devastating that over 3 million people, mostly civilians, lost their lives. This is the story of Biafra. Not as a footnote, not as propaganda, but as lived history. Part 1. The roots of conflict before the war. To understand the Biafran War, we must go back before Nigeria itself existed. Nigeria was not born naturally. It was created by British colonial rule in 1914, merging hundreds of ethnic nations into one political entity. Among them were the Igbo, Hausa Fulani, and Yoruba, each with distinct cultures, systems, and worldviews. When independence came in 1960, these differences did not disappear, they intensified. The early years of Nigeria were marked by political rivalry, ethnic distrust, election violence, deep regional inequality. Then came 1966, the year everything changed. Part 2, COUPS, Fear and Massacres. In January 1966, Nigeria experienced its first military coup, led mostly by young Igbo officers. Although the coup was not an ethnic plot, perception mattered more than truth. 6 months later, a counter-coup erupted, and this time, the violence was explicitly ethnic. Across northern Nigeria, tens of thousands of Igbo civilians were massacred in pogroms. Men were dragged from trains, women and children were butchered in the streets. Entire families vanished overnight. An estimated 1 million Igbo people fled back to the eastern region with nothing but trauma and fear. For many, Nigeria had already ended, even before the war officially began. Part 3. The birth of Biafra. On May 30th, 1967, Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu, governor of the eastern region, made a historic announcement. The eastern region would secede from Nigeria and become the Republic of Biafra. The name Biafra was taken from the bite of Biafra, symbolizing identity, survival, and self-determination. For Biafrans, this was not rebellion, it was self-defense. But the Nigerian federal government saw it differently. On July 6, 1967, war began. Part 4. The war nitrogen monoxide one prepared for. Biafra was vastly outmatched. Nigeria had a larger army, British and Soviet military support, control of airspace and ports. Biafra had improvised weapons, limited ammunition, engineers who turned scrap metal into rockets, one of the most untold facts. Biafran engineers created locally made weapons, including the famous Ogbuni, a deadly innovation that shocked Nigerian forces. But military ingenuity could not stop what came next. Part 5. Starvation as a weapon. The most devastating aspect of the war was not bullets, it was hunger. Nigeria imposed a full blockade on Biafra by land, sea, and air. No food, no medicine, no humanitarian access. Children's bellies swelled from kwashiorkor. Mothers watched their babies die silently in their arms. This was one of the first wars globally televised, and images of starving Biafran children shocked the world. These images directly led to the creation of Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, one of the war's few legacies of hope. Yet, despite global sympathy, political interests outweighed humanitarian concern. Part 6. The end of Biafra, but not the pain. On January 15, 1970, Biafra surrendered. Nigeria declared, no victor, no vanquished, but reality told a different story. Former Biafrans lost their savings, bank accounts reduced to £20, their properties, their political influence. The trauma was buried, not healed. For decades, speaking about Biafra was considered dangerous, even taboo. But history does not disappear when it is silenced. Why this story matters? The Biafran War is not just Igbo history. It is African history. It teaches us about artificial borders, ethnic fear, the cost of silence, and the human price of political failure. If Africa is to move forward, it must first remember honestly, and that is why Roots of Africa exists. If this story moved you, if it taught you something new, if you believe African history deserves truth, depth, and dignity, subscribe to Roots of Africa, like this video, Share it so these stories are never forgotten again, because Africa's roots run deeper than we were told.